Hello and welcome to the podcast. I am your host, Donna. Join me as we deep dive into real and raw conversations about love, life, money, and business. Hey guys, it's Donna. Welcome to episode 1 of the podcast, People Aren't Their Behaviour. So this is a topic that I wanted to speak to you guys about because I just see it so often. And this is going to be something that helps you both personally and professionally. So whether it be a work colleague, a client, somebody you're in a joint venture with, your husband, wife, mother, father, kids, whoever it is, it's really going to help you with that. So basically what it is you want to be separating the person, so who that person is, with the behavior that they're doing. And I'm going to explain why this is. So you may have had an instance where, for example, you've got a work colleague, for example, and they're just not pulling their weight, and you're just like sitting there and you're like, I know that you're not doing that much. Can you just pull your finger out and do something? Or your hubby, for example, you've told him like 5 times to take out the trash. Like, would you just take out the trash already? Or you have a client who's not paying an invoice on time. And you kind of like, you signed a contract. So, the contract says pay on time, so bloody well pay on time, or you might have the kids who, are chucking a tanty, and you're just feeling yourself like just boiling up inside and like, or even housemates. I know I certainly experienced this with housemates where, you have this agreement, in the house where somebody cooks dinner or somebody cleans up or whatever, and then that person doesn't pull their weight and you just feel yourself like that underlying resentment just coming up, right? And so what we tend to do is we tend to personalize these things. We tend to feel victim and, powerless to these things. And so what that does is, we start to internalize the behavior of what that person is doing, and we start to go, that person's so frustrating, they're so annoying, rather than kind of looking at, if I was to separate that person and their behavior for a second, how would I see them differently? So, for example, I remember having, when I was in the corporate world, I remember having this work colleague and she snapped at me in the morning and I was like, whoa, mate, like I didn't deserve that. Where did that come from? And I remember just feeling so mad at her. And I went outside and, just went for a walk around the block and I let myself cool down. And as I was doing that, I was thinking to myself, if I was to take all of the emotion out of this for a minute and I just purely had logic in this for a moment, what would I recognize about why she snapped? And I thought to myself, there was no reason for her to snap at me. So whatever this is, it can't possibly be about me in this moment. There's got to be something else. And I thought to myself, I was like, I don't like being spoken to like that. And that's a boundary violation for me. So what I actually did is I went back to the office and I said to her, is everything okay? I just noticed before that you were a little bit short and I just want to check in and, see if you're okay. Maybe do you need a bit more support with your work? And she turned around to me and you could see she was really trying to hold it in and not cry. And she's like, honestly, I've just had a really bad day. I've got some stuff going on personally and I'm having a really bad day. I'm so sorry I snapped at you before. And, if I had gone back in a grunt, or if I'd gone back and I'd, been really kind of curt with her and, really kind of standoffish, then it would have added to her day and she would have never have admitted to me that something else was going on. And so this is what being able to separate the person and their behavior does, because it allows you to come from that space of compassion. It allows you to come from that space of understanding that maybe there's something else going on. Maybe there's something more to this that even that person doesn't understand. So I just want to leave you with 3 tips, guys, on how to manage that, because this helps both personally and professionally, to really understand this. So the first thing is, when you feel like something like this is happening, first of all, go and take the time. Don't come from a reactionary place. Come from a place that is, from a place of responding, because that's a major difference, and I think, we've all kind of been there. We've come from that space of reaction and we just feel so awful afterwards. So really, really take some time to see how you feel about the situation and to perhaps even be able to, put yourself in the shoes of that other person. The second tip is think, don't stink. So again, like I know for myself, there's been times where I've gone into reactionary space and I've said the thing, and then later on, I've felt like the biggest bitch afterwards because I've just said something where I've been like, later on I've reflected on it. I'm like, oh, I wish I didn't say that. Or it didn't come out right. It came out all conjumbled because I was, sitting there in this state of like, I had more emotion in me than I did any logic. So everything that I was trying to get out, all the words weren't quite reaching my mouth at that point in time. In my mind, it sounded really good to come out and say this thing, that when I went to go say it out of my mouth, it just didn't come out that way. And so having this time away to think about things, to see it from the other person's perspective, see if there's something more to this, see how you would like to be treated in this situation, then allows you the space to go, okay, well, what's the graceful response to this? Yeah. And that's the third thing, is respond with grace. So respond from a space of compassion, from understanding, because 9 times out of 10, unless that person's a complete dick, 9 times out of 10, what will happen is if you come from that space of understanding and compassion, then what you'll get back from that person is a response of, this is why this is happening at the moment, or the gap in their thinking. If you can understand the gap in their thinking, then you can come to a resolution. But whilst ever you're in that reactionary space, there's no way you can come from a space of being able to respond and being able to fill that gap and being able to come to an understanding that works for you both. So I trust it has been really, really helpful to you guys. If you have enjoyed this episode, I want you to click to subscribe, or come along and follow me on socials. I do videos on my social media. The links are in here somewhere. My VA's put them up. Go click on the links on the socials. I'd love to get to know you more. All right. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.